We're gonna do some toe isometrics. You're gonna need your roller or a ball and a yoga block. A wall also will work. We're gonna go through each foot and then go through our toes. So take maybe 30 seconds to a minute and just slowly roll out the whole surface of your foot. And if you find a tender spot, you're gonna stay there and just put a little bit more pressure on that area. I'm gonna roll towards the inside, more weight on the inside. Go back to the middle. And then I'm gonna get that outside. And sometimes the outside is a little crunchy. Sometimes I'll set a timer, other times I'll just go by what my body feels. Then we're gonna switch and go to the other side. For me, I'm having a little bit of plantar fasciitis near my heel, so I'm gonna spend a little bit more time rolling at the base of my heel and arch. It's definitely sensitive, so I don't want to jam into it, but I just want to gently make connection with those tissues. Once you feel like you've gone through the full surface of your foot, we're going to work on the toes. If you have a roller, you can use the roller, or if you were using a ball, now you can use a yoga block or a wall. And the goal is that we need to keep the ball of our big toe secured to the ground. So I don't want you to work on the mobility, flexibility of your toes without engaging the ball directly on the floor. So it's whatever range your toes have. So I'm gonna put them on a stretch. And I like to do this with my hips square to the wall and both feet facing forward and not out or slanted. And we're just gonna sit here for 1 to 2 minutes. And I'm gonna focus on driving the ball of my foot down as my toes are on a stretch. Once I feel pretty comfortable with that stretch, I'm gonna take my knee and I'm gonna move it towards the wall. And as you can see, my heel is still staying on the ground. I don't want to raise my heel at this time. So I'm going to move my knee close to the wall, as close as I feel comfortable, so you get a little extra stretch. Stay here for 10 seconds, and then I'm going to keep my knee still and lift that heel up, and that should intensify the stretch a little bit. Again, hold 6 to 10 seconds. I'm gonna release, wiggle out my toes, and then I'm gonna stretch them in the opposite direction. Ideally, I would do this a couple more times. So if you have some time, pause the video, do this 2 more times on your right side. If not, we're gonna go to our left foot. I'm gonna get on that stretch. Again, making sure my hips, knees, feet are all facing the wall in front of me. The ball of my toe is diving directly into the floor, and I'm just feeling that stretch in the toes. And the goal would be that I could feel the ball of my big toe through the pad of my pinky toe. Once that stretch has calmed down, you're going to take your knee and go forward until you feel a nice stretch. For me, this side's a little spicier because of my heel. And I'll hold this 6 to 10 seconds. And then lift my heel. And kind of evaluate. My right side felt a lot more looser and connected. This side is a little stiffer. So I might do this side twice if I had time. Then you're gonna take it off, relax, wiggle it out, and then I'm gonna stretch my toes the opposite direction. If you're having trouble really getting the ball of that big toe down, you could do some pails and rails, just isolating the big toe. I like to use the roller. It's a little easier for me than the block, but you could also use the block. And to do that, we're just gonna stretch the big toe. So same thing as doing all the toes, except for this time my goal is to get all 4 other toes flat, and I'm just putting that big toe on a stretch. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna sit here for 30 seconds. I've already kind of warmed up this area. And then I'm gonna do a pails and a rails. Pails, I'm gonna press in to the yoga block, so I'm going away from the joint, and I'm gonna isometrically contract all those muscles. So I'm on my stretch, and just imagine your toe pushing down a pedal. So I'm gonna go really light at 20% of my effort, ramping it up to 40, 60, 80, 100, like max effort, all I got. And then I'm gonna relax, but I'm still staying in that stretch. So I'm not gonna take my foot out of that stretch. Now I'm gonna isometrically contract the muscles as if I was taking my big toe off the pedal while keeping my other toes on the ground. So same thing. Here you should feel this area working. Technically, you're not gonna see my toe coming back, but I'm engaging those muscles. And I'm gonna do the same thing. At 20%, I'm trying to lift it up, lift it up, lift it up. 40, 60, 80, 100. And then I'm gonna gently relax, take my toe out, wiggle it around, and I'm gonna repeat that 2 more times. And then I'll do the same thing on the other side. So if you're wanting to do the other side, which I encourage you to do, I would pause the video, get the big toe on the other leg ready, and repeat. 2 to 3 reps would be ideal, 1 if we're short on time. We're gonna work on straight leg ankle cars and then toe knuckles. I would suggest having a yoga block and placing it in between your knees. We want our hips about shoulder width apart, and we want our kneecaps facing the ceiling the whole time. This is gonna help let us know if we're utilizing our hip to get more access in our ankle. So kneecaps are gently, like baby squeezing to hold the block in. I'm gonna do 1 foot at a time, slow and controlled. We'll start with the right side. We're gonna take a breath in, and we're gonna hold that breath here to utilize it throughout this rotation. But I'm gonna think of pressing the pedal down, down, down as far as my ankle will go, but not utilizing my quad. I wanna keep this nice and relaxed. So I'm gonna go down, down, down. Then I'm gonna open it to the outside, and this is where people have a tendency to open up with their hip, but it's whatever range you have. I'm gonna go out, out, out. Keeping it out, I'm gonna come up, up, up. Then I'm gonna go in, and then down, 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 back to neutral. So that's 1 rep to the right. Then we'll go the opposite way. Down, 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 in, and come up, 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 around and out, and then down, 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 and back. Almost think of you're drawing the circle with your heel, and your toes are just coming along for the ride. So we'll go over to the other side and do 1 rep. I'm gonna take that breath in, hold it here. Eventually, as we get used to this, I'm gonna irradiate tension. I might be holding on, squeezing some balls, really squeezing the block. But for now, we're just trying to utilize and access what range we have in that ankle. So down, down, down. I'm gonna go in, up, around, and out. And then down as I'm keeping it out. And watching my knee, in, and then back up. And then we'll go the opposite way. Down, 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 out, up, in, down, and around. So that was 1 rep on each foot. I would pause the video now and do 1 to 2 more reps. So 3 reps total for every set. We're gonna work on toe knuckles. So I wanna have my feet 2 fists apart, or 1. I prefer 2 because we're gonna be turning our ankles, turning our toes in. I don't wanna utilize my hips, my knees. My knees are gonna face the ceiling. I'm gonna rotate my toes in, and then squeeze, 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 relax. But I'm still keeping my ankles in. So ankles in, squeeze, 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 like we want these knuckles that are like in our fists, but we want them in our toes. Relax. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Reminding myself to keep this as relaxed as possible. Relax. Squeeze. I'm trying to squeeze as tight as I can. Relax. Squeeze. Relax. You might wiggle them out. If you get a cramp, wiggle it out, and then just come back to toes in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Relax. Doing a set of 10 is a nice number to start with. Moving up to 30 as you get more comfortable, and then working on holding it for 10 seconds. So toes in, Heels are out, legs are straight and neutral, knees are to the ceiling. I'm gonna squeeze as hard as I can, keeping that pressure in there for 10, 5, 2, 1, relax. And then wiggle those guys out.